Morning, everyone.
Michael, it looked like Darius got those first team reps on kickoff return. What do you think he can potentially add to that group?
Yeah, I think for this whole training camp, just for everybody, like finding out what they can do to help this team out. Darius coming from a smaller school in Tarleton State, everything's kind of new to him. So the more you can do, obviously, in the NFL is going to help you in your career in the NFL. So we're just, piecing it together, see what he can do, see how we can help this team.
How do you never looked in those special teams reps that he's gotten?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps improving. Like I said, every day is kind of a new day for him in terms of the special teams world, but he's taking it on himself. One, he's just a great human being. And the second, he's very coachable, which is a lot of these guys. So he's trying to get better each and every day, just like anybody else will be, whether you're a 7-year veteran or a rookie playing special teams for the first time.
Take us into that process a little bit when you have a new player, like how you determine what they've done in their past and what they can do in the future?
I kind of put it together for everybody. Everyone, once they get into special teams, they got a clean slate with me. What can you do? How can you help this team? And that's my job to see where you're at, almost like a litmus test, and how far can I advance you in, so much time. With practice, you only get a certain amount of reps from special teams. But all I ask for these guys, whether they're a rookie or a veteran guy, is to come out here with an open mind and just kind of relearn the things they know, then just kind of perfect their craft as they get going. And, hopefully as they keep going and, getting more used to the special teams world, it comes a little bit easier to them. Now they can branch out and not think so much when they're playing, play at a faster rate.
Is there a competition at long snapper?
No. Charlie will be out there.
So Johnston this year just took the whole.
Yeah, I'm sure it got released today. Kind of released. I mean, it was more just for him to take a couple off those for Charlie.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So that punt return, Anias had 54 yards, I think it was. Did you have a return called on that, or how much of that was him just making a play?
It was a great move by Anias out there. We have our base calls that we go out there for special teams in the punt return world. You saw Anias did a good job of pressing vertically for the first 6 yards. Then he got back out. Then he made a heck of a one cut off that right side to get past 32. I think it was Brightwell off Cincinnati. Then it was all him right there. But a lot of it, as much of a great return Anias had, Keelan Robinson did a heck of a job on the outside. Then once it got to the return, he almost took a charge from basketball and took out, half the coverage player. So as great as it was for Anias, he can't get a return started without the other 10 guys in front of him.
Are we not having Braden Mann pick there and Jake Elliott hold?
You just never know what's going to happen in the NFL. Whether, we've been around here where I think it was 2022, Jake got ran into in the Jacksonville game, that rainy game right there, and hurt his ankle. Like, you don't want to be at that mercy of where you can't hit a PAT. It's more of that's what the beauty of preseason is. You're trying stuff out to make sure you have a contingency plan for things that may arise.
How was that operation?
Is that the same with Cooper Holden?
Always got to have an emergency holder. You never know what's going to happen. It happened again in 22 against the Giants. You saw Covey was out there as our holder when Aaron went out with an injury. So it's on us as coaches to think of all the bad things that can happen, and that usually sticks with you more than not. But we always have a contingency plan. You probably saw Grant Calcaterra was in there snapping as well. You never know what's going to happen.
Last time we talked to you, Avery wasn't getting many punt return reps. Now he's back there quite a bit. What's sort of the linchpin to start that?
Yeah, it just depends on what our emphasis on the day was. When it's a punt day, it's a punt day. And it gets kind of these younger guys, Taylor Moore and Giles Jackson, their opportunity to get their punt return reps. When it's a punt return day, you get Avery out there. Now he's working with return. So a lot of the stuff is kind of just based on what our emphasis for that day is.
How are you in that position right now?
The punt return? Yeah, I think everyone's competing at a high level. They're doing a really good job. A lot of kudos I'll give to Aaron Moorhead. When I'm having to deal with the interior or with kind of the vice guys right there, he takes it upon himself to get those guys doing different drills and getting them ready. A lot of things kind of go underrated from the outside looking in. The stats on Avery in the last game wasn't sexy, but what he did on a short punt to go up and catch it and not be at the mercy of the bounce is what Aaron does with these guys, creating short short punts off the jugs to go up and catch it and save us those field position yards right there. So I think all of them are doing a really good job of just embracing the different situations are out there, different roles. Then you saw in the stadium, they kind of had some live guys running at them, Jahan, Avery being able to catch them Anaya. So I think they're doing a really good job of pushing themselves and just kind of perfecting their craft.
What was the Bucks?
Kudos to him. Like I said the last time, he's worked really hard in terms of with his feet being a little bit faster to the catch point right there. And he's taking it serious, even after practice with Braden, catching some more, just fielding the ball a little bit better. So a lot of the credit goes to him of kind of taking on that role, what I could do better from year 1 to year 2 in terms of my return skills. And that's just him doing the little fundamental things right, racing to the spot first, being able to tuck it and catch it first, then get vertical, then I could get to the outside. I think, a lot of it has to do with it's so different from you get that college experience where a lot of guys are rolling out, the ball's on the ground. Or now here you get the balls are in the air, but these punters are so good they can hit different type of punts. So it's just getting used to it. No different than when you go to college as an offensive lineman to now as a rookie as an offensive lineman. These guys are way different in terms of their build. Same as for these punters. They're so talented now. It takes a little bit to get used to all these different punts.
As you see a 70-yard field goal get converted, does it, I guess, fall in the category of preseason experimentation, or is that a paradigm shift you think in the way a field goal can be viewed?
It's probably a little bit of both, depending on who your kicker is. It's awesome to see in the preseason, Cam Little in that 70-yarder. Then a lot of it's predicated on where you play. Obviously, Jacksonville, tropical weather, ball's probably going to fly a little bit. Up here north, that ball may not travel, but I think it's awesome to see, the talent level that these kickers do have in terms of their leg strength. And Cam Little's not the biggest guy by all means, but it just shows, the precision these guys have.
What makes Patrick Johnson so good on special teams?
It's funny, Pat is kind of the OG guy now. We drafted him the first year I was here. He takes the coaching very well, and you don't have to tell him two things once. Once he hears it the first time, he's able to understand it, conceptualize it, then he wants to grow off that. Then with Patrick, you never see him too flustered. Everything is it comes to him naturally, and he's able to hold down that position, all the positions we put him. So we put some of the added stress on him, but he embraces it. He likes to have that OG mentality of like, if they want me to block their best player, I'm going to take it to that point of pride that I can get it done.
With the increase in returns and kickoffs, I guess you tried a lot more in that first preseason game, by well this season. What are the differences that you're looking for when you're looking at a kick return versus a punt return?
Yeah, a lot of the times you like to see those guys get downhill north and south right now. The bigger bodies are always great, but you can see a lot of the times if you're a natural field running back, you can feel it. It almost looks like inside zone. If you look at inside zone, you're looking gap to gap as you get going. As each gap front side closes, you're able to wind it back to that backside A gap. No different than this new kickoff return. Everything's closer. So everybody's still in hand-to-hand combat. But if you're able to flow guys, then be able to make that maneuver off that backside, it's more of a field thing from like a running back. No different than a field thing catching a punt. But those guys getting downhill, pressing the point on the kickoff team to make a split decision, I think is what you're looking for.
When it comes to those,
Following that real quick, because you talk about outside zone running like that, when you're looking at the blocking scheme of that, are you looking at outside zone type things?
No, it's more of a correlation. When people see special teams as more foreign, if you could correlate to something to offense to defense, and when I'm speaking to these guys, it's inside zone to now you're pressing a block on kickoff coverage, it's going to wind back, but still being gap sound. So it's more for myself and my coaching style. How can I correlate to these guys where it hits something, a core where it could stick to them?
At a punt protector, as Shipley did last year, as Avery Williams has done, is that a position that requires skill, or is it just kind of understanding the ball?
We look at your punt protector as you're the captain of the unit. So you're no different than, calling the point as a center. You got to make sure you know what scheme's running, how do we want to call it, what's going to give us the problem, and how do I handle that problem in a split-second decision. So it is a skill, but I think it just reps over time. Having Will be able to do it his entirety of his rookie year, he's just only going to get better. Avery's been doing it the last 3 years. He's only going to get better doing it. So it's just, how many reps can I get to see different looks throughout practice is just gonna make me more comfortable in the game.
When it comes to those contingency plans, obviously braiding kicking makes some sense, but how do you find out a guy like Cooper can hold or a guy like Grant can snap?
It's almost like you do open tryouts. You know, you talk to guys. You know, you're just walking around talking to guys. Guys may have done it in high school. Guys may have done it, you know, in practice in college, and you just kind of ask them like, "Hey, have you kicked before? Have you held before?" They say, "Yeah," and you just go out there at the end of practice and you get a couple reps and say, "Yeah, if this guy could do it." Then you get, you know, we always do ours on Thursdays during regular season. They do their contingency plans before our session, and you know, you just feel confident with those guys going forward. Thank you.
Thanks.